Fucking boo.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Fucking Boo Bombing Stories with Big Irish Jay Hollingsworth. And today I have one of my oldest friends in comedy, dearest friends in comedy, and former now Nevadian. Is it Nevadan? Nevadian?
Yeah.
Nevadian? Las Vegas? I don't fucking Las
Vegas.
Vegas.
We both started on the same day.
Yeah, dude. And I've known you for so like fuck. Well, first let me finish introing you, and then we can. No, you didn't do anything. This gentleman, he has his own podcast called Life in Rambles, or My Life is in Rambles, right?
My Life in Rambles, yeah.
My Life in Rambles. Sorry, which I just did today, and it's great. So check that out. My good buddy Carlos Rodriguez. What up? No, I was trying to think. Did we meet? I'm thinking we met. Was it when I moved from Seattle to LA and I stopped and stayed with you and Roger?
No. I met you before that.
Okay.
Because I met you when because you were walking down the street, and that's when I was like, it was in Seattle because I came to do the open mic on I want to say it was a Tuesday at the Underground. Was it a Tuesday? Underground open mic?
Monday usually.
Monday. Okay, then it was Monday then. Because I remember we were driving down the street, and I just was like looking, and I seen this tall old dude just walking across the street.
Fat, you can say fat too.
It just caught my eye, and then Roger goes, he's a comic too, and I'm like, well, why don't we pick him up? He's like, we're in a fucking Versa. There's no way we can pick this guy up.
Fucking Roger, man, fuck that fool. Let him walk. He can lose some weight.
He needs it.
Yeah.
Then, I met you when I got to that. I was like, hey, dude, we seen you walking, and he didn't want to pick you up.
You're like, fuck Roger. And then I remember, actually, it wasn't. Maybe it was when I was moving to LA, but I remember I came down and I stayed with you and Roger when you guys were roommates in Sacramento, and I asked Roger. I don't know if I keep going back and forth as if it's when I moved or if I was just going down to LA and stopped and chilled with you guys. But I asked Roger and you to see if he could give me guest spots at Laughs Unlimited, because at the time I wasn't in, and I was doing guest spots all weekend. And then that Sunday, the headliner called out, he was sick or whatever. And so Jenny calls and goes, hey, you're in the right place at the right time. I'm going to have you and Roger co-headline tonight when they were doing Sunday shows, which are the worst. I'm so glad she doesn't do those anymore. Yeah. And then I fucking love Jen. I mean, Jen's probably, she's up there she's definitely my top 3 favorite fucking bookers and owners and, people in comedy. She's just the fucking best.
Yeah, Jen's amazing. She's my number one. She's my number one.
Yeah. Now I have you on the bombing podcast. So tell us, what is your best bomb, Carlos?
The best and the worst,
or whichever. A bombing story.
So I come back into stand-up after taking like a 7-8 year hiatus, and I come back in 2008, and in August 28th. That's so fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was the same day, and but I was in so this one kid was like, you should because this was like 6 months later, 6-7 months later. He was like, you should get in this contest that they're having, and I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, yeah, man. He goes, it's gonna be like $1,000 prize, or I think it was like $1,000 prize. And so you submit, and I got picked, and I was like, oh, cool. So we all go down to Modesto at this like state theater in Modesto, and like it's one of the shows that has like 12 comics on it, and at the time it's like, oh, these motherfuckers are killers. Like these fools are like, it's Mikey Winfield. It's,
Jesus.
It's Kirk McHenry. I don't know.
Fuck. It's Crushers.
Yeah, it's like, I have no business being there, and I didn't realize this until later. But you know who else was on? Doughboy was on it. Fucking so Doughboy, Insane Wayne from Stockton.
These are all fucking, you're naming killers. Insane Wayne, fuck.
And I'm 6 months back in. These guys have all been fucking hitting roads and doing open mics. Someone else is there too. DJ Mervin. There was another cat. Oh, this kid, this guy. His name's Ant the Hustler. He's passed away though. But he was a character because he was one of the cats where it's like he would always ask for a ride after the open mic or after the show. He's like, yo, let me get a ride home, bro. And it's like, all right, you give him a ride home, but you never dropped him off at the same spot twice. Like every time you gave him a ride, his name was Anthony Hustler, and it was hell. He'd always have the blank DVDs burnt, and like he'd have like a whole sleeve of just porno, and then like a whole sleeve of regular movies. And he was
Jesus.
a character, man. He was a big ass character, and he so it was him. Oh man, there was another guy.
So there's just killers there, and you're in this competition.
But I'm trying to think, because who
Doesn't matter.
I was just because
unless they bombed.
there was some pull up Transformers. That's what I was trying to say. There was a cat. There's I can't remember what his name was, but anyway. So anyway, yeah, you're right. Anyway, so yeah, because he just got off Transformers. I was like, oh shit, this motherfucker's here, and so before I say about me bombing. So Doughboy used to always take his shirt off and win competitions. That was his thing. That's how people were getting upset about it. So Doughboy goes up and he takes his shirt off and he's like number 4 in the lineup. And Insane Wayne is next. He's like, man, fuck that shit. I'm tired of this motherfucker winning with taking his shirt off. So Insane Wayne takes his shirt off and then starts doing his shit. Then after that, DJ Mervin does it. Then after that, like 5 or 6 comics all take their shirts off so it could be a wash. It was so funny. And then but I didn't take my shirt off, and then I go up.
I'm so glad you didn't. Fucking yes.
And then so I go up, and it's the first time I've done it like a theater that's full, and I want to say it seats about 500 to 700, I think, or something like that. And that was like a big, like for me it was big because I was just usually doing open mics and like just bar shows,
right?
And so I go up when I do my first joke. And it hits.
Okay.
And it hits. And
wait, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but I think I might have said this to you earlier today, but when I have people on that aren't comics, I have to tell them you already do it though, and I wanted to ask you about it, but I tell people that are non-comics when they're telling their bombing story from whatever, I'm like, I really want you to get across the feelings that were going on when this was happening. So and that's why I popped in, is because I was going to say, so you do your first joke and probably in your head you're like, oh, okay, I belong here, I should be here.
No. So what happens is I hit the joke because like, so it's a stage too. It's like, it's not the get up and this is where bands usually play, or it's carpeted and it's wood, and it sounds good, it feels good, and the joke hits. And I've never heard that many people in unison laugh.
Shit.
It was such an erupt. And I know we're used to it now because like, we've done so many shows or whatnot. We know how to get over. But like, it was a roar. And it kind of like, I could feel my shirt, like, do a little, like a ripple, like, oh shit. And it scared the fuck out of me. I was like, oh,
yeah.
And then I couldn't get my timing back, and I'm like, I'm so used to the audience being so close to me, and there not being so many people that they can see my general reaction. So I'm like, oh, they seen that I got shook. And
right.
I'm in
and
my head.
Blood in the water too.
And blood in the water. And I'm losing confidence. And if I lose confidence, they lose confidence in me. And
right.
I'm humming. I'm umming.
Voice cracking. And then if you ever see a guy with a bicycle,
it sounds like, then I can hear myself talk too.
So for anybody listening to this that's not a comic, know that like we may be talking about something, shit's coming out of our mouth, a joke or whatever, but in our head we're like steps ahead. We also, if we're not being in the moment, we might be like, oh fuck, did I pay my car insurance? Thousands of things are going through, and I know you have ADHD, so it's probably a million shit going through your head at once.
It's so bad. And I'm like, I remember just thinking like, like, hey man, you should leave now. In my head. You should leave now. And I'm like, but there's no way I could get out of here. And then it was funny because like, you could tell my first joke hit, but everything else wasn't hitting. I didn't know what to say. I was humming and stepping over, running through the punchline and just trying to get to the next joke. So I wouldn't even give them time to laugh because
you're just trying to get it over with, huh?
I'm trying to get it over with now. Yeah,
right.
I'm trying to get it over. I'm trying to get the fuck out of here. And yeah, because I wasn't even thinking about being funny anymore. I was like, let me just get the fuck out of here. And
it's survival.
Someone took a picture. and when they took a picture, I knew that was my out. I go, all right, you guys, that's my time. I got the light. I'll see you guys later. And then someone go, they walk up to me and they go, no one gave you the light. And I go, oh, well, I seen the light flash over there. I know it was a picture, but
Yeah, but, yeah, again, that, like I just said, shit going through your head. So you saw that, and you know it's not the light, but you're like, I got an excuse. I can just be like, oh, I thought that was the light. My bad.
That's my out. That's my out. And as soon as I get off stage, I walk down, and the steps, just the steps on the side of the stage that were there. And waiting in the wings is Mikey. He's going up next. And Mikey just has this big smile, and he was like, damn. And I go, yeah. And he goes, did you learn something? And I go, yeah. He goes, well, then you had a good set then. If you learned something, then you had a good set.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I learned something. And then I was just like, fuck it. And I went back there. Before I was in the green room with all the killers and hanging out. But then that green room was I was no longer accepted into that green room. And
you had fucking Ebola. Nobody's getting around you.
Nobody wanted to catch this. No one wanted to catch this bad comedy. And I was very like, yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I was like, I just came to get my jacket. I'm going now. I'm going to go be part of the audience now.
You just fucking give them a piece. All right, guys. Now, when you do the first joke, it hits, and you had that opposite reaction to what I was thinking, where you're like, oh, fuck, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. Now, as you're doing the other jokes, and I know you're just trying to get through this and fucking get them out so you can be like, okay, I'm done. Are any of those follow-up jokes hitting?
No, because I'm not saying them like
you're like no, not at all.
Not at all. Like no titters, no nothing, no nothing. It's monologue now, and it's very God. There's no tone inflection, it's just let me hurry up and get to I'm not even stopping to the point where it's a rhythm where it seems like it's a joke, and it's so bad. Like
people are just like, this is a really long setup. Because you just keep going, you don't pause. And does the place echo? So as you're telling the jokes and there's no laughter, you're just like, yeah. So that's just goes out into the ether and there's no response.
People weren't even talking to each other, so you can hear. I can hear everything. Yeah. So there's not even like, it was so bad. That was the worst one. And I was like, I was 6 months back in, and I was like, dude, all these dudes now are gonna see me as just, that one motherfucker that bombs. Remember that one fool that used to come through? Remember he fucking ate shit? And but it was so much fun though afterwards. Oh, Ellis was on it too. Ellis Rodriguez was there too.
Damn. Yeah, you had fucking dude, you were at the All-Star game.
Yeah.
and you were the big boy. You're like trying to fucking get on there. Now Mikey asked, which is dope, like because you could we all bust balls and he could just shit on you and left it at that. But that was I might tell him I might use that. Did you learn anything? Well, then it's that's what Conor McGregor always says. He goes, you either win or you learn. So that's cool. And I'll ask you when he asked you about what you learned, but before that, what would you, looking back on it now, what would you have done different? Like, would you have not even taken the gig, or or could you have prepared somehow? What would you have done different to not have that reaction, and then eventually that leading to bombing?
You know what's funny is like, I think I had to do that. I had to go through that because like that taught me like just even stage timing for theaters. Like it comes in as like I was like, oh, it comes in as a delayed response because when I said the joke, nothing happened, so I thought the joke didn't land.
Right.
Then it fucking all came in, and I'm like, oh, it worked. And then all of a sudden, whoa, shit! I could feel the laughter. I could feel the roar I could hear it. I could feel it. And then I was like, oh fuck. Okay. Next. And so when I went to the next, it fucked the whole timing because then I'm doing it like I'm at a bar show. I'm still not getting the whole timing part of like the roaring in and out. So I learned the waving of the waves of a theater gig. And also I think I had to do that. I had to eat that shit because there's nothing that can prepare you for that unless you do it. Like, I don't know, man, especially on the theater thing, you need, I think that first show for everybody at a theater gig is like, they're not ready for it because it's not what it's not our usual playing field. You know, it's a
Yeah, you
different.
different pacing, cadence, longer wait times, you know, for the
Mhm.
roll and in and out, and yeah, and possibly, you know, depending on how you are as a comic, like really playing the stage if you walk a lot, or you know, all that shit.
It's like using a
That
wooden bat and using a metal bat. You know, it's like
oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
like type of, how the ball hits off of it and how, and that's how it felt. I was like, oh, okay, this is the first time I've ever used a metal bat, so now I got to know that I, pull to the left because it's
And yeah, yeah, and you're used to playing at the park, and now you're at fucking Fenway.
yeah, yeah,
You
it's like
know?
yeah, it's nuts, man. So I had to like definitely figure. So I think that I kind of wouldn't change anything because I needed to know. There's no way I could have just learned that anywhere else other than doing it for the first time and probably not do. And I feel like if I'd have did that 2 years later at a theater, I still would have had that learning curve because I wouldn't have known
Mm.
the theater thing. I wouldn't have
That's
known that.
actually, I think that might be the first one when I asked people, you know, like what they would have changed or what they learned. I think that's the first where somebody said, no, I think it was good that I fucking bombed and ate shit because you know, you learn. But no, seriously, you know,
Mhm,
like I mean, you learn when you bomb. You know,
mhm.
I mean, if you're a good comic or you're
Yeah.
self-aware, you should learn from. Okay, why did I fucking eat a fat one? Like this wasn't a bomb, but I was doing the cellar one week and you know, like we were talking earlier today about the jokes I have about my mom and my pops passing away, right?
Mhm.
And the the jokes about my mom passing were pretty new, and you know, like it's your new shiny toy. And I knew like all week I was doing other shit, and because when you're at the cellar, it's a showcase, and you get like 10 to 15 minutes. But I was like, one show I was like, you know what? I just want to fucking do this shit about my I want to do these jokes. You know, I'm really feeling good about them. I'm liking them. They're doing well, and it's my favorite shit I'm doing right now. But it pretty much every minute of my 13-minute set was about my mom dying. So, you know, which we all know. You know, put that shit, sandwich it. You know, don't have that be your whole set is just about death because there's like no warming them up or getting them laughing about other shit and then getting into that.
And then the
And
next guy has to go
yeah,
up.
yeah, exactly, dude. And it was like the sound guy who's also a comic. He was like, dude, I actually respect that you did that shit. And it wasn't that it bombed, but it definitely my other sets. It was the low of my sets through the week, you know.
Yeah, but that's
But
that's growing pains. That's the higher risk, high reward stuff, man. That's like
yeah,
when that gets done, it's gonna be fucking murder. It's gonna be
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's the favorite shit. All right, so give everybody your social media shit. Thank you for coming on doing the podcast. And if
Mhm.
you ever have another bombing story you want to tell us, if you like think of something you're like, oh fuck, I should tell them this one, let me
Okay.
know and we'll do another one. But give them all your social media. You know, if you want to plug anything, this should go out tomorrow.
I'm at Carlos Comedy on everything pretty much, except for like if you look it up though, you'll find me because this other kid jacks some shit too for Carlos Comedy like on YouTube, and so I have to do Carlos Comedy dot or Carlos Comedy dash. But
Uh,
if you just
do
do it,
you
you'll see me.
do you have carloscomedy.com?
No, some guy doesn't even. He's this cruise comic, and I don't think
Motherfucker.
he's even done comedy in years and years and years. I keep checking, hoping that he
You're like, give me
doesn't
the
pay.
motherfucking domain, bitch.
Yeah, hopefully that he doesn't renew his bill. He must have it on auto renew or something, but he doesn't. His name's Carlos Guerrera, not and so
Huh.
but actually his name's Charles Guerrera or something like that. He doesn't even go by Carlos, but he has Carlos Comedy. I have carloscomedy.net,
Dot
but
net.
yeah,
Ooh.
I know
Ooh.
it's such a but
That is
the way
that is the URL. That URL is what you were in the green room. That's how
yeah,
the other domains look at that. Like, oh,
yeah,
what
like,
is that
oh,
fucking
this
dot
fucking
net?
guy.
Yeah, this guy just fucking ate a fat one. He's got a dot net.
He said the standing room is to the left. Nah, it's the
Yeah.
green room.
So carloscomedy.net
Yeah, and
and
then
Carlos Comedy on all social media except for YouTube. But just search Carlos Rodriguez and you'll
mhm.
find Carlos. And if you're ever in Vegas, he performs here in Vegas. We both do all the time. And then you can also catch him out on the road from his website. And thanks,
Yeah.
Carlos, for doing this. And you'll like how we end this. Until next time, bon voyage.
Fucking boo.